You have cried when you were
Josie?
happy. You have cried when you were sad. Somehow, crying can sometimes make us feel a little lighter. It is one of the body's most mysterious ways of releasing and expressing overwhelming emotion. But there is something strange about this reaction. Nothing has to touch your eyes for the tears to appear. There may be no smoke, no dust, and nothing physically irritating them. Sometimes all it takes is a memory. A face you haven't seen for years can suddenly bring tears to your eyes. So can realizing that someone you love is gone forever. Or hearing a few words you have waited your entire life to hear. Somehow, an invisible emotion inside your brain becomes a drop of water on your face. And that raises a surprisingly difficult question. Why do humans cry when emotions become overwhelming? Why can sadness make us cry? And why can extreme happiness produce exactly the same reaction? To understand this mystery, we first need to understand what tears actually are. Your eyes are never completely dry. Every time you blink, a microscopic film of fluid spreads across their surface. This thin layer keeps the eyes lubricated, protected, and optically smooth. These are often called basal tears. Most of the time, you never even notice them. They simply work quietly in the background, helping your eyes function normally. But your eyes also have an emergency defense system. Cut an onion, stand in smoke, or get a tiny particle of dust in your eye.
When a
Your
dust particle
nervous
touches the eye,
system
sensory nerves
detects
send a
the
rapid signal to the brain.
irritation and
This activates the
rapidly
lacrimal gland to
increases
flood the eye
tear
with protected tears.
production. These are reflex tears. Their purpose is simple: help wash the irritation away. But then there is another kind of crying. Emotional crying. Unlike reflex tears, these tears may begin with something that exists only inside your mind. A memory can trigger them. Grief can trigger them. Love can trigger them. Even overwhelming joy can trigger them. Somehow, the brain takes an emotion that has no physical shape and turns it into something you can actually see. So how does it do that? The process begins not in your eyes, but inside your brain. When something emotionally important happens, several brain regions begin processing its meaning. Networks involved in emotion evaluate what the event means to you. One important structure involved in this process is the amygdala. It helps the brain detect and respond to emotionally significant events. But the amygdala does not work alone. Other brain regions involved in memory, attention, bodily regulation, and social understanding also participate. Together, these systems can transform an emotional experience into a physical response. Your heart may begin beating faster. Your breathing may become irregular. The muscles in your face can tighten. Your throat may develop that familiar feeling of a lump. And eventually, signals can reach the glands responsible for producing tears. These are the lacrimal glands, located above the outer part of each eye. They produce much of the watery fluid that spreads across the eye's surface. Normally, this fluid has an easy escape route. Tiny openings near the inner corners of your eyelids collect the tears. The fluid then travels through small drainage passages toward your nose. That is why your nose often starts running when you cry. But intense emotional crying can produce more fluid than the drainage system can handle. The tears begin accumulating along your eyelids. And eventually, they spill over. A drop rolls down your cheek. Think about what just happened. Nothing physically touched your eye. The entire chain may have started with a thought. Your brain interpreted that thought as emotionally important. Your nervous system changed the state of your body. Your lacrimal glands responded. And something invisible inside your mind became visible on your face. But now we reach the harder question. Why would the human body do this at all? Why connect powerful emotions to tears? Scientists still do not have one universally accepted explanation. But several clues point toward a fascinating possibility. To find the first clue, look at a newborn baby. Human babies arrive in the world almost completely dependent on other people. They cannot walk away from danger. They cannot find food by themselves. And they cannot explain what is wrong using language. So they use something much older than words. They cry. The sound immediately captures the attention of nearby adults. It can signal hunger, discomfort, fear, pain, or the need for contact. Long before children learn to speak, crying already communicates. But something changes as humans grow older. We gain language. We learn facial expressions. We learn social rules. And eventually, we even learn how to hide what we feel. Yet emotional tears remain. That suggests they may communicate something words sometimes cannot. Imagine seeing someone with tears running down their face. Before that person says anything, you already know something important is happening. Perhaps they are grieving. Perhaps they are frightened. Perhaps they have finally reached the end of something painfully difficult. Tears make an internal emotional state visible to other people. And in a deeply social species, that can be extremely powerful. Humans did not survive only because individuals were physically strong. We survived through cooperation. Families shared food and protected vulnerable children. Groups cared for injured members and depended on one another during danger. In that world, communicating distress could have real survival value. A person who could clearly signal vulnerability might receive protection or comfort from others. Emotional tears may therefore function partly as a social signal. They can communicate that aggression is decreasing. They can reveal vulnerability. They can invite comfort. And sometimes they can say, "I need you," without a single spoken word. This may help explain why seeing another person cry can affect us so strongly. Their emotion is no longer completely hidden. We can see it. But this still leaves another mystery. If crying is mainly connected with distress, why do we sometimes cry from happiness? People cry at weddings. Parents cry when they first hold their newborn child. Athletes cry after finally achieving something they pursued for years. Families cry when someone they thought they had lost suddenly comes home. Sometimes people even cry while laughing. These experiences seem completely different from grief. Yet the body can respond with the same tears. The clue may not be whether an emotion is positive or negative. It may be how intense that emotion becomes. Your nervous system is constantly regulating the internal state of your body. Most everyday emotions remain within levels the body can easily manage. But occasionally, something overwhelms that balance. Fear can do it. Grief can do it. Relief can do it. And extraordinary happiness can do it too. Your heart changes speed, your breathing shifts, and your attention becomes consumed by the experience. The emotion becomes larger than the quiet physiological state you were in moments earlier. And near those emotional extremes, crying can appear. That may be why sadness and happiness can sometimes lead to the same physical response. Emotionally, they are opposites. Physiologically, both can involve intense arousal and major changes throughout the body. This also helps explain something many people have experienced after danger. Imagine narrowly escaping a serious accident. During the danger itself, you may not cry at all. Your attention is focused on surviving. Your body is operating in an emergency state. Then the danger ends. You realize that you are safe. And suddenly, the tears come. It can feel as though everything your body was holding back has finally been released. This is where the familiar idea of crying it out comes from. Many people report feeling calmer or emotionally lighter after crying. Crying can accompany the body's transition away from a state of intense emotional arousal. But there is an important distinction. Tears do not literally drain sadness out of your brain. Emotional pain is not a substance stored inside the body waiting to leave through your eyes. And crying does not automatically make everyone feel better. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it doesn't. The difference may depend heavily on what happens around you. Imagine crying completely alone while feeling helpless and afraid. The tears may come, but the painful situation remains unchanged. Now imagine crying beside someone you deeply trust. They notice your face. They move closer. They put a hand on your shoulder and stay with you. Suddenly, your tears have changed another person's behavior. And that social response can become part of the relief you experience. This reveals something remarkable about emotional crying. It may serve more than one function at the same time. Inside the body, it accompanies moments of intense emotional regulation. Outside the body, it communicates that emotional state to other people. In other words, tears sit at the boundary between biology and communication. They begin with activity inside the brain, but they end as a signal another human being can see. That may be one reason emotional tears became so deeply connected with human relationships. Yet scientists still cannot explain every part of the story. We know where tears are produced and how they travel across the eye. We know emotional brain networks can influence the nervous system and tear production. We know crying can affect how other people perceive and respond to us. But exactly why visible emotional tears became such a distinctive human behavior remains debated. And perhaps that mystery is what makes crying so extraordinary. Because when you cry, you are watching the brain turn emotion into biology. You are turning an invisible experience into something another human being can see. A tiny drop of water can reveal grief, joy, fear, love, relief, and connection. And sometimes, when emotions become too powerful for words, the body speaks through tears.